I'd like to call the work session for March 2nd, 2017 into order. All right, first up, we're going to have a follow-up discussion on weddings in North Beach based off that economic development committee report. Would you two like to go over, do the start, the rundown on that?
You know, I wasn't here last month, but I do have the presentation from, that was given last month from the EDC. So we have the questions, the recommendations, the staff recommendations, our recommendations from the questions. So we can go from them one by one.
That'd be great.
Number one. Wedding calendar, clarification of an annual time frame that weddings are permissible in a year. A recommendation from the EDC, post the time frame on the website so business residents are aware of wedding season. First of all, we'd like to get away from calling this a wedding season. Staff feels that we don't necessarily want to use this as weddings. The fair can be used for weddings, family reunions, company picnics, any sort of event, not just per se weddings. Although most people hold weddings during the warm months, the town of North Beach welcomes weddings during the entire year. Therefore, there is not a time frame or wedding seasons to place on the website. As y'all know, we had a New Year's Eve party on the end of the year.
Exactly.
So,
I think originally, at the time, there was sort of a thought that it might be more seasonal,
seasonal.
but
So there is not, per se, wedding season. Number two, wedding brochure website clarification of the process procedure requirements for vendors to be added to the wedding and brochure. As discussed at the EDC meeting in October 2016, there was no process or procedure for weddings to add to the website or brochure clarification. Vendors are not included in the 8.5 by 11 trifold wedding brochure. They are included on a separate piece of paper that is given along on the brochure. During the summer, and we have these up here, during the summer, fall of 2016. Vendor names and some town businesses' names were listed on an attached paper that was given to potential brides and grooms. The names listed were placed in categories such as bakery, hair salon, wedding favors, etc. This was done to make brides and grooms aware of businesses in North Beach and the surrounding areas that could be used in planning their wedding day. Only a few of the town businesses could be placed in such wedding categories. So it was decided to revise the paper. This new paper is now a 2-page document. The first page is titled Businesses in North Beach, and the second page is titled Overnight Accommodations in North Beach. And we have these in these enclosed folders up here that anyone is more than welcome to have. And these folders are given out to any potential bride that contacts the town. And in this folder has this page that I just mentioned, along with our wedding application. It has all of our fees.
I think what's important, Stacey, and I'll wait till you get to the next slide, because I think you cover, I think the important clarification here is that it sounds like, just to confirm that now on this, I know we don't have it up there, but the document titled Businesses in North Beach, every business is on there now. I think that's a really important distinction, because initially, and we understand when you guys presented, it was new and you were just sort of kind of picking ones that seemed very wedding
Wedding oriented.
oriented, but now, so you guys
Every
are,
business in North
every, I
Beach.
think it's really important for people to, every business in North Beach. And because it's just, it's like a one pager, you're not printing them as you go. So if a business closes or opens, you can easily, and so you guys, there's nothing a business has to do. When a new business opens, they'll automatically be added to that one page.
Every business in North Beach is in there.
Which is, that's awesome. I'm so glad you guys, so that was kind of after that meeting.
After that meeting.
So I think that's, I just want, and Mary, and Sharon, and Lisa are here from the EDC. That's just a really important, I think.
So you don't have to have anything to do with weddings. Every business in North Beach is on that page, and every potential bride, company picnic, family
Exactly.
reunion.
You guys heard that, right? I didn't just walk in, you get what the difference is,
I got
yeah.
it, I heard it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's
So
on
that's
that.
great.
I got a quick question. If we go back to the first one, I've just been looking at all this material. We're not gonna call it weddings, we're not like focused on the weddings, but how do we clarify the difference? Like, in other words, do we have something else that talks about the events that you could hold on there?
Well, since we're discussing wedding venue meeting for this particular portion, right now, I am focusing on these EDC recommendations, but we will venture into
Events.
using events in general.
Okay.
But I'm just addressing their
Right,
particular
right.
recommendations tonight.
All right.
But we will start marketing it also where you can have a family reunion there, you can have a corporate picnic out there also.
No, absolutely. Yep.
But I like the wedding brochure, because I think brides and people getting married, like, they like to see something
Yes.
specific to the wedding. So
Yes.
it's kind of like events.
But we just don't want individuals to think that you can only get married out there.
Exactly.
Maybe call it celebration club day.
You can have any kind of party out there, but we just don't want to use it just
That's an
as.
actual company.
Right.
So, on the other side of the range, you can't call it that.
Celebration's over there.
All right.
Any day.
So the next recommendation was post process information on websites and proactively send this information out via email to businesses, including VRBOs. Invite businesses to become an added vendor if they have some related to offer and provide instructions for how to become a vendor. Is there a form or standard information is required? Town businesses do not need to be invited to be a listed vendor because every town business is already listed on the paper entitled Businesses in North Beach.
All right.
During the October 2006 EDC meeting, Dawn distributed business cards and welcomed all people in attendance to contact her, discuss any items, and also to provide a suggestion where their business would fit on the vendor sheet. She received a phone call from only one business. Lastly, not all properties that are listed on the VRBO website can be placed on the paper entitled Overnight Accommodations in North Beach. If the VRBO is not a town-approved rental property, we do not include the rentals on the town website or any other town materials.
Yep.
All approved rental properties in town are listed on the town website under lodging and also on the overnight accommodations in North Beach.
Yes, if you guys are counting, we still have about half our VRBOs that we're advertising are not in compliance yet.
And I think that was an important, distinction. I mean, that's a perk. I mean, you're paying tax and all of that as a VRBO, so this is a benefit of being legit. And if you're not, then obviously you should be on the list. But it's a great piece that now it's simple. You don't have to, fill any paperwork out. You'll just automatically be on the list. I guess if somebody sees that list and they think they're under the wrong category or something like that, they can let you guys know, but they'll automatically be listed.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, that's what. Notify businesses and residents in advance of closing via email and website. Yes. All town businesses and residents are encouraged to subscribe to e-news. This link is under quick links on the town website. When subscribed to this, you will receive all news around town email blasts. The town staff makes every effort to give an information regarding road closures and other information pertaining to town meetings, closures, events, etc. out as soon as possible as we are made aware of a situation. Please note, when a new website is launched, when subscribing to e-news, there will be an option to receive wedding news and updates.
I have a couple questions on this one. What is our protocol when we say advance? Advance notice, like I know with Chesapeake, Avenue being raised, it came out like the day before. Just so people know, I think it's important to say, and I know sometimes things happen and we can't give advance, but what is like our standard? If we know, because weddings book or events book generally, pretty far in advance. Are we saying a week's notice, just so people can have a sense of?
We really don't have a written protocol.
Back when we did Bayfest, when did we post for
We
March?
should.
Was it like a week out?
When we started out with Bayfest, it was 3 weeks. We would hand carry notices down along the waterfront, where we were closing down.
But I remember it used to just being like signs that would go up,
Right.
We-
so.
With Bay Harvest Fest and things, we put signs out like a week before, and Richard would hand them out 3 days before, and then a day before.
Yeah.
Right.
There was multiple.
Which I think
It
is,
was multiple to keep reminding them, and then the day of,
We still had to tell
we
people.
still would have to tow people out.
right. But I'm just thinking, I think we should have a protocol or policy, just so people have an expectation if they're trying to plan, if it's gonna impact their business. That we should have some kind of standard when we can. Again, sometimes things just happen, but I don't know, I'd love to hear from a business, like, would you love a week's notice? Is 3 days? I'm just curious, and again, sometimes we can't control it, but I'd be curious what people feel like would be a good amount of notice if it's possible.
What I've noticed the protocol to be, and I totally understand that you say we have to subscribe to the e-newsletter, and I get that. But for many street closures events that are planned out well far in advance, we have gotten written notice of the street closures. And that happens all the time for any big event. So that would seem to me to be the protocol to let people on Bay Avenue, Chesapeake Avenue, 7th Street, wherever the businesses happen to lie. That seems to me that would be the protocol. There is written notice. It happens all the time. It happened last year, happened the year before last. Whenever there's an event planned and the street closures are prepared in advance, there's always been a written notice.
But does it matter, just if you had, in the perfect world, is a week in advance of a closing a good amount of time? Does
It's
it
not so much
matter?
about the time, it's about the information.
Because for the.
Okay, so even if so you don't have a preference, whether it's a week or 2 days or 3 days?
I just think it's information sharing in general.
Okay.
Because you guys know which events we close the streets down for, Dragon Boat,
Absolutely.
Farmers Market.
But my point is that when those closures happen, there's always written notice. So if there's written notice for an event like that, then there should be written notice for any.
A wedding or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, realistically, how many weddings are we going to close
Well,
Bay Avenue?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know, yeah, it's just, the point is, so we can all agree that weddings and all events will be part of, if there's a closure, they'll be wrapped into that.
Okay.
And so, you know what I mean, so that'll be included. So that would be good, and the point being, so it doesn't matter so much the advance time, just so long as there's notice, is what I'm hearing you say.
That's what I-
Written, okay. No, thanks, that'd be good.
Okay. So that goes to the next part, a policy developed on advance notice.
So we have a policy,
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
perfect.
The next recommendation, have placed on the website to provide more information about vendors, special wedding offerings, couples, massage, for bride and groom, wine tasting, yada, yada. Seen that part. For the most part, Dawn maintains the town website. She does not have extra time to maintain special wedding offerings for each town business on the town website. We believe the responsibility should be placed on each business to provide information on special wedding offerings on their own website. Please note that all town businesses already listed on the town website. If the business has a website, there is a clickable link from our site to their site. If the business does not have a website but has a Facebook page, there is a clickable link to the business Facebook page. All businesses are encouraged to promote and keep their product and their specials that pertain to weddings up to date on their site when users are browsing the North Beach website and click on the link to a town business website. They will be able to see any special wedding offerings there. As with any town business special, sales, etc., information may be sent to Dawn or Stacy with a request to share via email blast. In addition, when time allows, which is normally a few times a week, Kelly or Dawn share all town business Facebook postings on their North Beach, Maryland Facebook page. We feel this is an acceptable way of promoting town business specials on their business in general.
I want to acknowledge that. I just want to make sure people understand that last piece because it's a huge benefit. I know I didn't really fully appreciate it until Dawn explained that. So, just so people know, Dawn and Kelly literally go to the town websites or to the town Facebook business
Yes.
Facebook pages, and then we'll share if there's something that they have on their page. We'll share on the town website. And we have how many followers now?
7,970.
Yeah, so that's like a free piece of marketing that you guys physically do and go share town business postings on the town website. So that's all manual. It's not like an automatic thing. I know it's time consuming. So I just want to acknowledge that. I think that's a big benefit for the businesses.
Is this on the webpage about weddings?
That's on our webpage, yes.
So people can just click on this link to get to these?
Now let Dawn explain how she works our website. Explain how this is.
She's asking something different than what
What
Gwen
Gwen
is
is saying.
referring to. Gwen is speaking of Facebook pages.
I understand that.
Okay, so, okay. So yes, anything in that folder is on our current website. On the home page, there's a square that's called Weddings by the Bay. You click on that, you get the PDF of our brochure, you get the papers we're speaking of at businesses in North Beach, overnight accommodations in North Beach, and the application.
So my question is, because this is on there, can they click on here to get to this?
That, you're referring to that paper? No, that's a PDF file that they can download, they can print, they can look at on their smartphone. Every business in town is listed on our website under About North Beach, town businesses, and then they're listed, say, shopping, restaurants, salons and spas. In that section is where the clickable links are. And we've gone through, and this has been for a few years now, each business in town that has a website, you click on, from our site, you can click and go to their website. If they do not have a website, we've set it up so it goes to their Facebook page. And I think there's only one or two businesses in town maybe that do not have a website or a Facebook page.
That's pretty
But
nice.
there's also the address and phone number.
That's pretty
But they
nice.
were recommending that we do something special for their businesses for weddings, something in addition to what she already does.
But I get, if they're going to their business, they can have it on their business page. That's fine.
Right.
And let me add too, I don't know if it was on this, if she just said it or not, but, and I guess Sharon's the only business here, but we share Sharon stuff all the time. She's very active on Facebook. She has newsletters and specials and things like that we share. Some people are active on there and some people are not. So, some people haven't updated their Facebook page in a year, so they're not getting their share.
And I think Sharon shared some of this at the Loop, right? So Sharon's the liaison, the Loop, and I think you let them know that we'll share their links.
Yeah.
I believe you did.
So,
Well, the question was whether or not we could post to the North Beach Facebook
Right.
page. And we figured out that you can, but it goes under visitor
Yeah.
posts, and then
Nothing
the
we could
person
do
has to
about it.
actually click on the visitor post to see it. So if they're scrolling through the North Beach page, they wouldn't see if you shared something unless you hit visitor posts.
Yeah.
But yours are
So
going in the
that,
main
so
feed.
that, what Sharon's talking about, that's a change that Facebook made, nothing I can do about it. If she, Bay Wine and Spirits, goes to the North Beach, Maryland page, posts on there, it goes on the side, well, the way I see it, it looks like it's on the side. I don't know if that's how another user sees it. Because
No,
I'm the
it doesn't.
admin
No,
and
you
I-
have to physically hit visit
Right,
over the
and you
post.
have to go over there and look at it. I can't do anything about
But
it.
when you share it, people can see it more
When
easily.
I go to
Right there.
her page
Yeah.
and
So-
share it, it goes on the main
Right.
news feeds for North Beach,
So
Maryland.
that's awesome.
Yeah, they may change it, Facebook makes changes all the time, I can't control that. Another change they made was, and it really makes it more time consuming for us when we're sharing their Facebook posts, is I used to have an interest list, it was called, town businesses, I named it, added every single town business page to that interest list. So when I wanted to go and share a post, I would just go to my interest list, share, 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 share. They took away interest lists. So now I have a physical list on a piece of paper, go on Facebook, type in Bay Wine and Spirits, go to that page, share that. Type in Perfect Nails and Spa. So it's a lot more work,
Yeah.
but we still share them. And my point is, Facebook, social media, they make changes and I can't help that, unfortunately.
Each tier and street closings, minimize closings and closing timeframes as much as possible to avoid negative impact on businesses, residents, and visitors. In the event of closures necessary, the following are suggested. The beach pier and street closings are only done on an as-needed basis and at a minimum. If Fifth Street is closed, suggest posting on the entry signs at First Street and Fifth Street is closed and access to Bay Avenue by First or Third. By the time the driver gets to Fifth Street and realize it's closed, they are often decided not to patronize shops on Fifth Street. Fifth Street is not normally closed for weddings as it is for other events, i.e. the farmer's market, play at the town, drink around, Dragon Boat Festival, etc.
I guess on that, if that is the case, so again, kind of going back to that protocol, can we do that? Can we post something at the entryway to town, just saying that, you know, that, to give them that notice?
Just if we're using that sign for that, for an event,
Yeah. Dragon boat race, whatever.
usually we're using that.
Can we fit, I don't know if we can fit both, I guess it depends how long the stuff is, I don't know.
Well, we fit 23 characters per line.
Per line.
It's hard to fit
We
anything.
could always look at raising the signs up and adding another line of zip letters if we were trying to fit more stuff on.
Yeah, I think, because it's, you know, I think this was a good observation, so people drive and then they, you know, they get there.
Usually when Fifth Street is closed, it's because we're having a big event, and most, usually First, Third, and Fifth are all closed anyway.
Yeah.
And it's only closed in Chesapeake.
Do we see us closing Chesapeake often for events?
Chesapeake?
Yeah. Sorry, Bay, sorry, Bay, sorry.
I
Wrong
just,
street,
I
Bay.
just need what it's closed
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
Okay,
those events.
okay, but for
No.
other events, do we see it?
Movies.
Like, remove all of our normal events that we know. of.
No.
Do we see ourselves closing Bay for events where we rent out weekends?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we could turn down. But even, how many events, I mean, it seems like we have a lot of events where we just close Fifth, right?
Farmer's market.
Just farmer's
Farmers
market.
market and
Dra-
movies.
Dragon boats. Farmer's market and the Dragon boat.
So would it
Drake Maryland.
be, even for that, would it be good to let people know? But I guess they could turn down First and park a little bit, yeah, or was First closed during that time
I
too?
mean, somebody's not gonna park at First and walk all the way down. I mean,
I guess
to
most
me-
of the people are parking in the parking lot.
if you're talking about Fifth Street, then what you're talking about is businesses from between Fifth and Seventh.
Right.
So nobody's gonna park at First, Second, Third, Fourth. I mean, they can just, I don't know.
I guess they could, I mean, most people should just park behind Chesapeake Valley.
Can you do that because they walk a lot? Why not? They can't do it. Why can't they do it?
Well, sometimes during the farmer's market, there's a guy that sits out there and we're not allowed him to move.
The Baywalk
All
lot is
walk, all walk.
private.
It's not Baywalk lot, it's
Not
the
the Baywalk.
parking
You're
lot.
talking about the
What
parking.
about the Chesapeake Valley lot?
He's talking to the
Oh,
right.
the
Our
Baywalk.
walk.
Not a
All right, not Bay Street.
That's not the the
Yeah,
Baywalk
man.
lot here.
Not bad.
Baywalk has a
And
different
by the
lot.
way, we have some of the parking spaces in the condo parking. We have about 12.
But I guess, so the issue was, that people were saying that people would drive down, want to turn to Fifth and go to the shops between Fifth and Seventh. But they realized it was closed, and maybe just say, forget it, so not patronize those shops. But if we had, I don't know, I mean, I guess, would it be helpful to have some kind of signage saying, you can park here? I don't know how big, again, how big of an issue it is. But you're right, with people, if it was signage at first saying Fifth is closed.
You know,
turn-
this is all in relationship to whether or not the wedding venue grows. This is where you don't know what the future holds. So these questions are based on the fact as to whether or not a wedding could be big enough to afford these types of closures. So these questions are designed to address those types of scenarios. That's all the question is for. Not in the past about where the closures have been and how the closures affect us, because certainly we know of all these events and the closures, and everybody that comes to the farmer's market knows where to park, knows the streets are closed. The question is for the
For
future.
the future.
That's all.
So it's not
about.
anything that can be, that has to be decided to.
But I think part of this is, yes, well, what we're trying to do is kind of look ahead, right? This is a.
Well, the pier only holds so many people also, let's remember that. You can only have so many people on the pier. It's only so many, it's almost so big.
Well, and you
It's
can
not, you're never gonna have a
Right.
500 person.
But if we get to this, place where we're closing Fifth and people want to go down
Well,
there.
and the
all you have
question
to do
is,
is
we
put a
could
little sign
decide.
up at Fifth on the other
Yeah.
side.
Saying, yeah, where
Say
to park.
parking.
I have a stand-up sandwich board sign if you
Yeah.
ever get to that. Get to
Oh,
that.
right.
But we can
So let's
also
keep
say-
that in mind.
And we can also say, so right now, for events on the pier, let's say we won't close the main thoroughfares for events. We could say that too.
I don't think we should unless and again, it may be a case by case, who knows, but we don't, and I think that was what we said, the default is that we won't close those streets.
And then if we close them, we send out notice.
Send out a notice in advance.
And it all goes full circle.
Yeah.
And if Fifth Street is closed, then we can put out your sign, Stacy, so that'll be a protocol that we can put up a stand-up saying, park where, yeah,
And then direct them to the one behind Chesapeake Ave.
yeah.
And for evening events, I think a lot of the stores are closed by the time farmer's market
Depends
starts.
what
I
day
know
it
you
is.
are not, I know you are not.
Yeah,
But that's really not the point of this.
yeah, it's just direct, letting people know.
Another thing, when our season gets busy and we have events every week and all that, I do a lot of postings and email blasts. In that, I can include, remember,
Closing sign.
parking, some roads may be closed, something generic.
Mhm.
Roads may be closed, other options for parking,
Beautiful.
here and here. That can just be a standard.
I think that would be awesome. Yeah, just do it as standard, right? Because then we
Because-
start training people and.
Yeah, we're in a day where everyone looks at their phone for information.
The only thing is, I think a lot of this was thinking if it's, people who are tourists coming to visit the town for the day that don't get the email, and then Fifth is closed, just as a physical sign there would be
Yeah.
good. So that could be another
It's
tool in our toolbox.
direction, it's just direction.
Yeah.
That's
That's great.
Yeah, we have stand-up signs, we change letters on them.
Yeah, then we use one for the drive-ins.
Yeah.
The radio
There's
station.
three or four that beach folks use.
Okay, so we can just stick it out there if and when that happens.
So we've gone over notify businesses and residents in advance of closings. We've gone over that. Leverage opportunities, consider creative economic development opportunities related to wedding businesses. When brides and grooms seek information on having weddings in North Beach, we have found that most are very familiar with North Beach and what the towns and businesses have to offer. They are giving town brochures, including Beyond the Boardwalk, which offers everything to do once you're away from the beach and boardwalk. This brochure includes street maps, legends to guide visitors to shops, restaurants, museums, etc. Dawn's updating those.
The only thing I would say on that one is that, as this grows and becomes more and more successful and the marketing works, we shouldn't assume that the people who are looking to have a wedding here are super familiar. Because they might not be, they might just, have been referred or see one of your ads. So that's the only thing I would say about that.
No, we don't assume, we actually, when we did this wedding expo in Annapolis, a lot of people knew where we were and were interested, and then other people had never even heard of North Beach. So
Right.
we did a lot of explaining our town, and, there's, we're a small town, we have a couple of parks, we're right on the water, on Chesapeake Bay, da, 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 da. So, we don't assume that they know what's here, that's why we have, brochures and things that they can take with them.
Exactly.
And then they ask questions, and, we get phone calls, so.
Between those brochures, that'll educate them.
Wedding shows. Perhaps 1 to 2 per year host a wedding show where couples can come and see what the local businesses have to offer. Events list. Can an event list be distributed to guests or places to go while in town for weddings? Perhaps the town can partner with the North Beach Loop to hold a wedding show. If this is an option, to discuss at a later date. Events are listed in town brochures and on the website. We receive requests from brides and groups that are holding weddings here in town and outside of town for brochures, etc. We do provide those as requested.
Do we have to have like a wedding booth during some of the larger events like the Dragon Boat Festival or anything like that? If I'm just passing information out there.
I like at the farmer's market even, like,
Probably at the farmer's market.
have do we do that? I don't know.
We have not fall only because we have a Dragon Boat team that we're very vested in.
We are very interested.
And we're all.
And we actually have
You may become
that
very
you're going to be on the
interested.
team this year. When the mayor's cup.
Oh, we do, we have a team tent and stuff, and I always put out any information about it.
Yeah, but we'll have it.
Because that had a particular flag goes off outside of here.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, another thing Sullivan over at, Ocean State was.
Yeah, for the convention, we take the
We have not even thought about a wedding show until we came up.
Like the film festival, like when we started, sorry.
But I just want to remind everybody that we are a venue only.
Go local.
We are not wedding planners by
No
any
need to listen to
any
this.
means at all. We are venue only.
But if you're so limited, we have such limited space.
Yes, we are
You
a
can't go to Chesapeake
venue.
Beach or Harrington Harbor because of the wedding venues.
Right, we are a venue. We are not wedding planners.
Maybe the firehouse, their room, there would be a nice big room to use.
So,
We need to do something like that.
you're right, they're having a wedding show in Riding Reel next month. But we are just venue, Merle, and we're not wedding planners here. We're not going to do planners here in North Beach. We just want to be a venue. So, we could partner with the Loop and have a show if you would like, but
That was only a suggestion.
we're just
brainstorming.
Well,
we're just a
I
venue.
think that would
Yeah,
be,
well, thank you for that,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah,
are
I
just
think
a
it's a good idea,
venue
so.
here in North Beach.
but we can, I mean, I kind of like the idea if we have enough people and,
with interest.
not of interest, but they want to come and see a lot. Like, who do we have wedding, that we can put in those
Well,
wedding
you don't have to
categories?
simply focus on weddings either. If you do this.
You're talking about events or-
Events,
We can call it
weddings,
an event show.
yeah. But what I'm thinking of is,
Different
we
things.
were talking earlier before the meeting, the Huntingtown Hall, the banquet room they have there, they do receptions and weddings at the Huntingtown Fire Department. So Stacy and I are seeking out other wedding expos and things that we can attend to get the word out about our venue. They told us that they didn't have any room for other venues. But when I looked at their list, the only venue that was listed was Huntingtown. So they don't really want us to come there and promote ours because we may take business from them. And the same for Chesapeake Beach Resort.
I could see like a meet and greet, like a meet and greet. You could have a wine store, you could have a bridal lady where you just, it's like people who are thinking about getting married the next year, just
Build some business,
have a,
business.
well, and even if you had them in one place or
And
something.
I did have a caterer that I met at the Annapolis show that we went to a couple weeks ago. She came down and met with me because she wanted to see our location. And she brought me information because she wanted to see our location. So I have met her and she has come down and seen me. So,
It's a great way for people to see the locations. I did one of those in, north of Baltimore, huge bed and breakfast that wanted to get known as a venue, not as a wedding planner. So they had a wedding show with all different vendors who came in, and then they also did a couple little presentations and people paid to come. But that, they had a huge number of people interested then in having their wedding at this bed and breakfast. Because it was out in the country where you never would have known it was there. And like I said, I've had so many clients come to the beach who say, what a beautiful place, I never knew it existed. There are a lot of people that would like to maybe have their wedding here, but they don't even know we're here. They just would like to have it near the water.
We were more thinking in that brainstorming session of the wedding walk, and so that would be more personalized, where maybe a potential couple came, and then there could be a little tour of them to walk the town or something. It wasn't really about creating a venue where people converge on North Beach to have this huge wedding show, because that would never happen. There wouldn't be enough interest, obviously, for that to take place. It was more about the wedding walk idea, is what is very specialized and more quaint approach to.
Is that couple by couple, Sharon? Is that what?
That, I
is it-
don't know.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
we were just.
Like a meet and greet, go each kind of like.
And obviously, you couldn't take time out of your day to do that, and Dawn couldn't take time out of her day to do that. But, if it ever came to that.
Where did
that-
you get the couples from? Where
I'm
was
saying
it?
if you had a potential couple that wanted to have a wedding in North
Could it be
Beach.
advertised as a day though? Like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Oh, well,
like-
I meet with brides in rooms like that all the time.
Right, so then the potential will be there for them to say, okay, so this person is willing to walk you around town and show. I'm saying that maybe wouldn't be you, but it's a potential way to show. That's what we meant by wedding walks, for them, to walk the town and see what's out there for their guests to do, what they could do in town, where they could shop in town, the beach, the attractions, what have you.
Maybe someone on the EDC, maybe it could be like, someone was coming, had an appointment, I don't know, maybe if it was arranged in advance, maybe someone from the EDC or from the Loop could be like, I'll take them around, I don't know, had a few minutes. I mean, I could see sort of something like that.
Now it's more of a self-guided, because you give them the Beyond the
Right now,
Boardwalk,
it's
which is
self-guided.
pretty much,
Yeah.
so now they have that, but it's a self-guided one, so it's not walking her out. It's-
Right, but
Yeah.
that was actually when we talked about that particular subject line that you discussed, it was more about the wedding walk. That was
So not necessarily pulling a show together.
Well, I don't know that there is any possible way.
Never know.
to-
I would love to do
I
that.
know, I think in the future, like if it was,
Like maybe a year from now.
Yeah.
If we, have more
Let's do
interest.
it.
yeah, I mean.
Well, no, I'm just picturing,
Yeah.
the town is promoting our venue. Our main venue is that pier, so you can have your wedding over the bay. So we have it set up as if it
Yeah.
were a wedding venue reception, but then you also have the businesses in town that
It's like
have
an
the,
exhibit.
yeah, like Sharon could have her table, booth, whatever,
That'd be awesome.
of your offerings for,
Absolutely.
whatever you can provide for a wedding reception, rehearsal dinner, things like that. I know Kettle Corn does wedding favors, she could have hers.
It'd be awesome to do it out there under the
I
tent.
mean, we're not gonna be as
Something
big as
like-
the show we went to in Annapolis, we're
Yeah.
not, because we want to keep it to our town businesses. So, but I think.
Well, I was
that might
trying
be
to
something-
minimize, because Stacy had said that, that we're only a venue, so.
Yeah.
It sounded
It
like
doesn't mean
we
we
were
can't think outside the
interested.
box. I mean,
Yeah,
this
so I was
is-
trying to minimize it back down to where it was smaller, but now you're saying
Love that.
that,
Yeah.
maybe you would be interested in that.
Is it
so.
on if there's each of them?
I'm good either way.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I mean, I hope we get to a point where we feel like we'll have enough interest to have that show.
And I think as part of this, I love this dialogue right now, but, and as this grows, to kind of meet and talk and, let's be creative. It's all about the win-win for
And they have,
everybody.
the fake brides walk through in their wedding gowns, and we have that new champagne faced bridal right down the street. She can have her models in their gowns and,
Yeah. It's kind of, keep it
that's
in
something
mind.
we can strive for.
Awesome.
I'm not sure.
I'll put you in a tuxedo.
Uh,
You don't want to be one of the ones.
Drag quote. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
No, I was looking at her. She was smirking up at me.
So I'll give them ideas about what I have to do.
No, I don't, but I did meet with Anthony Green today.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
That was very cool.
So Stacy,
Thank you.
on our end,
Yes, sir.
what is next or needed from us for this? It sounds like we worked through some of the protocol and questions, so now it's just,
Nothing, I owe you all some numbers that Glenn asked for last week, and you've received my email back. I just was not comfortable providing those numbers without
Okay.
Joanne's input. I'm not the treasurer by any means. You've seen the look on her face last week when you asked for those numbers. I think Gwen tried to ignore that look. but-
Well, Mark said,
I
he can
know.
still get them.
That
He
was her
sitting
look.
Because Mark said that,
He was
so I was
leaving,
like, why?
and he was getting on a plane the very next
Yeah, I
day.
know.
I think the numbers are, for me, I live back on Third and Frederick, and all this is great talk, but I also have to answer to taxpayers that are paying your salaries. And so when I think about all this stuff, and when we ask for the numbers, you know, we have to be good stewards of spending money. So this is, I'm looking at it as, is it a good investment? Because, you know, we have a lot of taxpayers here in North Beach that are footing this bill.
Well, we
Right.
don't even know if they're footing a bill. Maybe
Well, we
it's
need to know what,
money.
we need to know what
I
the,
think that's the point.
we just need to
Yeah.
know. So when we say we'd like to see the numbers, you know, what is the numbers? You know, and that's the reason why I know I was interested in it.
People ask
Because
us.
they ask me all the time, so the town's doing all this promotion for this wedding thing, but where's the money coming from? Well, your taxpayers, I mean, that's where it's coming
Well,
from.
I mean, people pay to rent the venue, but, right, so is it, are we in the black, are we in the red? Are we-
Right, that's one reason why I'm asking, and
Right.
if we get it next week, 2 weeks from now, whatever, just, and it's gonna improve over time,
Exactly.
but just starting a bunch of businesses, you know, I just know that it's good to know the numbers, that's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw something out there. Every single event we do in this town, town sponsor, every single one loses money. Every single one.
and I believe Joanne was working on just getting like straight event costs too for us.
Yes,
Right.
we are.
Right.
So
It'd be nice to know the event cost.
Every farmer's market has a cost to it.
Right, we love it,
Farmers market, movies,
absolutely.
the Dragon Boats, the wine festival, every single one of those has a cost to it.
Absolutely.
Years and years ago, when all we had was Bay Fest, we never were able, that one reason we plant, and we put in charge of it 30 years ago. He and I, and you know, when a plan can take a penny and get 2 cents change it, there was no way we could even make that break even. We came within $1,000 one year.
And I'm,
Every single year, we lost money.
absolutely, the same thing if you do Parks and Recs, ball fields aren't there to make money for,
Yeah, exactly.
it's about quality of life. So I'm not looking for events to make money. What I am looking for is to know what the events are costing.
And keep in mind,
That's all I want to know.
when we complain about the beach and the beach revenues, those beach revenues pay a large portion of the event costs. We dump those
Absolutely.
event costs onto the beach revenues.
Look forward to seeing
So it's just not, you know, the sand and the workers, we have an awful lot of event costs residing in beach fees, which people don't realize. That's what pays for the events.
Is that all? No, I think this was really helpful, and I appreciate you guys putting comments together before tonight. I mean, I think we have a couple of action items, which are the protocols about whether it's putting a sign out or including the wedding stuff in the email, and exploring these, what's that?
And just making sure the written notice.
The notice and, yeah, and looking at future opportunities like the, you know, exhibit or what have you, and just being open to dialogue every so often. I think this is, you know, we came up with some specific things.
And here's Dawn's newest ad, came out this week in the Southern Maryland Women's magazine. Anyone would like a copy of it?
Definitely.
Which one is that?
Southern Maryland Women's?
Cool, well, I think we're good on this topic. So now we're gonna move over to, San Francisco has requested speed bumps along their main drag. off of the Second Street main. So
That's, yeah, the name of that is actually Gloucester.
Wait, speed bumps within Sanford's
No.
Square?
No.
So when you're
Look at your email,
do you have the map?
look at your email, the map came up.
Don't take that tone, Randy. 'cause-
Well, I'm taking that tone more. Then,
And I'll turn it over to, since he's been at the HOA meetings where they've been discussing
the
that.
last 7 or 8 years.
Good night.
This came up about a year ago with them, and they toyed with it. And they're finding more and more issues on the town portion. We have separated the 2 parts. The town portion of Gloucester as a residential, and they're proposing that we put in 2 speed bumps.
This is the intersection. This is the road that goes in. The town owns right of that. So we have an aerial map.
And they had requested this officially a couple months ago. I told them they had to send us a letter officially requesting it. I think Gwen and Jane will remember that we did this on Frederick from Burnt Oaks several years ago, when Mayor Jones was in office. One of the requirements we had was that they had to have a sense of the community from the owners and the beautiful in there, basically. It took Burnt Oaks about 2.5 years to get around to doing that. And to give you some perspective, I've been talking, Burnt Oaks, we're talking about putting speed bumps in their parking lot for 4 years now. My sense is we're gonna have an answer to what the community thinks of the San Francisco in about 2 months. Because they jumped to topics, but what I did was go ahead, yeah, I put it on the agenda, we're gonna talk about it. But they sat down and figured out how they were gonna do it. And this is just merely the town portion of Gloucester. Why I say you have to separate the 2 parts? They are going to put speed bumps within their own parking areas.
Which they will do themselves.
Which they
They're
will do
asking for us to
themselves.
pay for them.
Right, they're asking us to take care of our
Yeah.
portion of Gloucester. Now, I'm gonna kick this over to Donnie and John to give more perspective, because there's gonna have to be more work done on Gloucester than just the speed bumps. The bridge,
Yeah, we got, right now, we got a sinkhole that's, in a location, it's right at the bottom of the hill, just after you cross the bridge and into San Francisco. It could be foreground from construction, that, the bridge is built over a marsh there, and it looks like it's right where the big, they probably got 8-foot diameter, 3 8-foot diameter concrete pipes going across, and that's where the water's flowing, and then they kind of fill that marsh and build the road there. So right opposite of the last pipe heading into the development, that's where the settling is. When we get our contractor out here, what we're thinking is when we get our contractor and start paving, we'll go back there and go and patch that. We're just gonna have to dig it out, see what we find, replace it with some stone, paint it real good, and then pave it. It doesn't look like any, we looked at the berm real good, we looked at the hill, it's not like a blowout, it's not like water rushing down the hillside, mudslide or anything like that. You can't see any obvious signs of where it's a sinkhole, or where the dirt's going to, or where the material's going to. It could be that when they did that, it didn't compact it good during construction, it might have been who knows, like a tree that has rotted over time and, enough to settle. It's settled enough now where it's almost like a speed bump, like a reverse speed bump. It's probably a 3 or 4 inch dip, and it's probably 3 or 4 feet by 3 or 4 feet squared there. So we definitely have to cut the asphalt, put in some good material, tamp down, and we'll have to repave and see how it holds up, because you can't, like I say, you can't really tell.
yeah.
It doesn't look like material's in the pipe. You look inside the pipe, it's not like it's a hole where mud's coming in the pipe. It's not coming out the sides of the tank anywhere. So there's no obvious places where it's going. So the only way to do is cut up the asphalt.
Is that kind of a good time to do the speed bumps anyway, since they're doing the work?
It's pretty close to the location. That, I think they're not really asking for speed humps. If
They're actually for humps.
Yeah, speed humps is which is kind of like up there.
No, there is a difference.
Well, it's kind of a big difference, because not, but just, they're, like the one at,
The wide.
when you got the road paving to the circle, when you come out, and the back way to get out to Route 2, Where the little Italian restaurant is there, that's a speed hump out of the church.
Right, they're longer.
Yeah, longer or whatever. Speed bumps, when I first heard of it, because they say speed bumps don't really work unless you put them 200 feet apart. Because somebody will go over a speed bump and actually they speed up, after you get over the bump, and that's why they put another one 200 feet there, so you get to slow down again. So they only work in kind of like a couple in series, and these would be further than 200 feet apart, so now we're going to do one actual speed hump, so. And we had, in the staff meeting, we got back to Randy, we advised that they poll all the residents there, because when we did the ones in Burn Oaks, you had a lot of people were happy, but then you also had just as many people, it was like, who put them in, blah, 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 so.
Yeah, it was like 51-49.
Yeah.
Remember, part of those guys, we kept telling them, you want speed bumps. No, we want speed bumps. They got what they asked for and then decided they didn't want them. Well,
And
So
then they
what's
weren't,
the
and a lot of
process?
people weren't happy, so I think now that I guess they're asking the residents, and then they're supposed to come back, we gotta get a consensus, and I think the mayor said have a public hearing about it before we, or much. I don't
No,
wanna
they
push
need to
that,
bring
but-
us back a
Yeah.
consensus, a petition or something
Yeah,
from
some
the
kind of data.
association.
yeah, they are on top of things. As you guys know, I'm even better than that. So I expect them to have an answer. This is March, if not this month, by next month.
Can the
I'm
project,
just
you're
kind of
talking about
curious.
rate?
Well, I asked
Is
Rick,
that
he
like-
lives up there, and I was kind of curious, but he said nobody's
Prices?
contacted him about that, so I was just kind of curious to see if you
They
are.
were gonna do it via their email, web blast kind of thing.
I don't want to put him on the spot, but I know he's just.
Well, so it's probably gonna go to the owners.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, I read part of the email, and I know part of the concern was because of the school bus stop there.
Yeah.
I'm there every morning, 5 days a week. And since this, I've stayed, I've gotten there early and stayed late. The speeding is not bad, going up and down the hill. I've very rarely seen anybody more than maybe 5 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Yeah.
And the bus stop is a bus stop. It's 10 minutes, people park on the side of the road, nobody flies by, traffic isn't held up, nobody has to wait and,
Yeah,
the road's not blocked. Well, you can see it from your house, it's
Yeah.
not.
This has been a hot issue for them for 2 years.
There's just as much problem 2 blocks down where there's a duplex and the cars park all the way up to the stop sign because there's nothing that tells them not
So
to.
you're saying that you don't think they need them? Or is it only a couple people that are pushing this, or?
That's what I'm trying
I
to
think the
find
ones
out.
in,
Yeah.
I think the ones in the neighborhood are far more needed than the one east.
So, and
It's just
Talks
about-
about
The town doesn't have a
people
problem.
skateboarding.
I mean, I don't think the town has a problem, putting them in, but we just want to make sure, because we had a lot
Make
of
sure it's a consensus.
blowback on, after we did put them in, we had more negative than
Right.
first. Now it's kind of died down.
Can you wait to do the work you're talking about, or is that a crisis now?
Well, there, the bid's coming in for repaving, repaving the whole Chesapeake Avenue, so we have time.
Yeah, we have.
But I mean, even that speed hump, that's like a tremendous amount
The
of work.
problems
And
are,
I'll be honest with you, I don't know the genesis of this, I just go to their meetings, I don't know whether it was something from inside the community or somebody in the board decided that this was a
I don't know,
good
I mean, but
idea.
if it has to do more with just, because I don't want people skateboarding down the street, I don't think the town should pay to, I mean, I just.
I don't know,
Temporary ones we have.
I do know,
our position, like our public works, we don't, it's safer for the residents, and they feel like they need them, and the citizens are there, we just don't want to put them in and then have more citizens say they don't need them. That's
Exactly.
what-
All right.
But then like
I'll wait to
plowing,
hear from you.
plowing snow is
How
also.
those temporary ones?
But yeah, it was mainly putting this on the radar for all of us to know that they're calling the community so that when they come up and say, hey, we polled and we had 60-40,
Right.
that we like them.
Who knows?
Bird Oaks was like 51-49.
I mean, that's data we can take back to the ones that are negative, say, well, look, you were asked a question, you had the chance, and this is what the results came, that's why we put them in. So we don't have a problem, I'll put them in, if it's safer, and, the whole community wants it,
Okay.
that's great. And what we have to do, the patch is really close to that one area, so it's not, might be doing some work there anyway. So.
Okay.
The biggest problem up there for speeding actually is on the buses, earlier in the buses. Because people early in the morning get flying out here, I mean, those damn people in San Francisco don't know what stop signs are.
I think it's.
Trying to get to work.
Well, okay, I mean, if the deputies would sit up there about a week, like stop sign tickets, they could fund the county budget with the phones.
They don't stop there at that stop sign,
Yeah.
not unless it's the school bus time.
I haven't seen that happen.
Yeah, I know, all right. All right,
Get a
so
camera and
we're
see
good.
it.
So on that, we're just waiting for them to come back with us.
Yeah.
So now we go to parking. So I had John get us maps of the town with the current zones marked on the map.
Let's flip this around.
Thank you.
We'll leave you that one.
You'll leave it, listen.
Well, I was a teacher.
I do know in the packet we were emailed out, we got the old parking ordinance, which has been updated when we did the last zoning refresh. So-
That's the one where we basically got rid of any parking requirements for businesses under.
Yeah, and then,
This is what we have now.
yeah, and then had
Yeah.
other things go to the planning and zoning to determine parking. So John, we'll turn it over to you to explain the map. It's on you to explain the map.
Explain this map?
Yep.
All right, well, this map was developed, this has nothing to do with planning and zoning. This is a municipal parking plan for how to handle on-street parking. As far as your zoning goes for your requirements for off-street parking, you approved a new zoning ordinance early last year, and that code requires 2 off-street spaces for each residential property. And anything that's not residential, the amount of parking, off-street parking that's required for that will be at the purview of the planning commission when they review the site plan. So what this plan is, and this plan was the basis of a municipal parking ordinance about establishing different types of parking zones on the street. This map was developed about 5 years ago. I think, have we updated, Stacy, we've never updated that.
That's 2010.
So what this plan delineates, where we have residents-only parking, 2-hour limit parking, half-hour limit parking, and special permit parking.
I just think it's comical that we have 2-hour limits, half-an-hour limits.
So
Who enforces it?
Well,
Well, what are we trying to do right now?
Yeah.
What are we
it's
trying to build right now?
it was before it was like this. I wanted to have a map so we can all see exactly what all the zones are in case nobody knew what zones were and what they are. Rick, you're familiar with all the ones there that have signs, correct? Okay, so could I borrow you down here?
Sure.
Um,
May of October.
Maybe I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all
So that
year.
way we can all see the ones that have signs, so we can
It's
see
May,
areas.
it's May 1st through October 1st.
Okay.
Oh,
Except handicap is all the time.
Of course, Jane.
But it's not,
So,
It's a state law, it's not in
I
my
know,
map.
but
before we
not
even tackle
done.
the enforcement part, just have a map of, so we know all the zones, we know where they're all signed. Because then we can look at what we have for enforcement. So, I know everything down here is signed, correct? Everything in between Chesapeake and Bay is signed.
Yes, there's 3 dozen signs all over the
I think it pretty much stops at Chesapeake, it doesn't go west from Chesapeake, correct?
place. For resident-only parking
Yeah.
signs?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes,
Okay, okay, so where does it stop for the resident-only parking?
They're all,
They're all over.
Okay.
On every street.
I mean, I can
No,
I can give you an exact location if that's what you want.
That would be handy for later, probably. Okay.
So what are you trying to accomplish with this?
Well, I don't
But
care
I mean, I
about-
think with the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, you really only had, there's only one of 2 choices. You either gonna leave it the way it is, or you, like you said, you're gonna figure out a way to enforce it. And I don't see where there's a middle ground. I mean, it's either you're going to enforce it,
Right,
or
exactly. What is special permit mean? I can't remember.
These
That's
are
the
the
other
ones,
one.
these are the spaces for the allocated 1 car for each house that has no off-street parking.
Oh, right, that's on like
On
7th Street.
Seventh
yeah.
Street.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
especially
yeah,
more.
this here is the post office, let's see, Tasty Freeze. These were allocated to Tasty Freeze and then when they put their business in.
That's no longer needed, that can come off the map.
Yeah, so that almost needs to be sort of updated
Okay.
anyway.
They can come off the map now.
Which one's that one?
Tasty Freeze in front of Kitty Lovey's.
The red one's down here, when Tasty Freeze went in.
So the question
yeah.
of
They reallocated
enforcement, I mean,
those.
were we gonna get some numbers about how much would, I thought we were gonna get numbers about how much it would cost to have a code enforcement.
We also probably wanted to
person?
give Joanne an idea on, did we want to have it, how much of enforcement person?
Well, how much
Well, during the
enforcement, do
summer,
you want
at
it
least
just
to
during the
start.
May to October? Do you want it in,
I think we should have scenarios, like how much would it cost if we just do it during high season? How much would it cost to do it year round? And we could.
well, year round, you're looking at somebody's gonna make probably less per hour because they're gonna have
You
more
can't
hours.
enforce this unless you change the ordinance, because it was May 1st to October 1st. That's what the ordinance states.
And the rest of the, for all of the
Yes.
parking, and the rest of it's like woo-hoo,
Yes.
whatever?
It's whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just, so if we said, now, well, wait, do we think there's a problem beyond May 1st, after October 1st?
I mean,
Outside
the
of-
funny thing was after the season ended was when we had 4 or 5 of our biggest complaints from
Yeah.
people who were coming down for vacation rentals or, you know, or other rentals.
Okay, let's pretend, well, maybe we should look at it both ways.
My suggestion is we do looking,
Both scenarios.
I think at this point, it's looking like we want to go forward with looking at
I
enforcement.
think we would.
So my suggestion would be to leave the May to October in, come up with some sort of numbers to do enforcement May to October, then you have to just figure out what enforcement you want to take place.
But you just said we had some of our biggest issues afterwards.
There may not have been biggest issues, or it may have just come up at that point. Yeah.
But I would be curious, let's say, I'm sorry, Paul,
Would you
we,
like to talk?
I said, what are the complaints? There were 4 or 5 big complaints.
You had people who are property owners here who were telling people who were renting vacation property, you're not a town resident, it's resident parking, you really can't park on the street, you're not a resident. And we had to explain, well, if they're renting a vacation property, that's the same as, you know, they have the same rights as the other people.
and most of the vacation properties are rented like May through October as well. It's interesting that.
This one took place right after
Right,
that.
maybe, yeah, maybe.
Did they have parking stickers?
Well, the rental person isn't going to have a parking.
No, but they used to have visitor
We
parking.
need to get hangings or something.
We had those.
Go back up a minute. This code enforcement for May through October, would this be a full-time position May through October or a part-time position?
I don't think there's any way possible that you can keep a person busy doing this enforcement full-time. There's no way. I mean, so hire me now, I resign, I want that job. I mean, there's no way. There's no, I will do it for a month, for free.
That's your put after a month. You haven't done
Well,
parking
and that's the
enforcement?
thing, it's like,
I have no problem. All I'm saying is this, but time allotment, there's no way.
Well, no, but you have.
That time
if
allotment
it's
is a full-time
2
job.
hour, like you have.
There's not that much.
Wait,
What do you
but-
do in the middle of the summertime when there's 100 cars parked there that are only supposed to be there 2 hours, and they're parked there for 18
I
hours?
don't know, he's making schedule.
What time, yeah, like what time, like
No,
these
it's-
2 hours. and
But it can be
does end
alternated.
to-
It doesn't have to be like straight 8 hours.
Just think what you were saying, that before we're having a wedding, right? Everybody's coming down, they gotta park, but now you're gonna have a parking, code enforcement guy, enforcing parking, running people out of here. So this kind
Well,
of.
they-
Well, I mean, that would
They have, they have to park in the parking lot.
Yeah, they park in the
No,
parking lot.
I'm saying, but you know what I mean, you gotta kind of, I know, I've seen problems on Friday night at farmer's market, but then the rest of the days, it's not. Friday night's the worst
That's
night.
where 90% of the parking complaints come from, is farmers market.
But like Mike said on.
On 18 Friday nights, right?
We don't have enough room in the parking lot.
so that part-time question is, does it need to be Monday to Sunday, or can it be Friday and Saturday?
Some of these parking regulations are gonna have to be a little relaxed on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So,
Keep it going.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, but those are things that we could just write, they could just do text changes to write those in, right?
you might have to,
I mean,
they're a little relaxed on it.
Yeah, but what did you
I
say?
mean, can't you just, I mean, we could just, I mean, we can make the regulations whatever we want to make.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you go past basically Dayton, not even Dayton, Chesapeake, on 7th, 5th, and 3rd, the parking issue is gone by the time you get Dayton. It's just that
But
simple.
going back to the issue, if we relax the things, are we still gonna have the problem then?
Do we
You know what I
really-
mean, is the problem because,
We're gonna have the problem because people aren't gonna know that.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Do y'all really want to write parking tickets for foreign people coming to farm?
no, I don't. I mean, but I'm saying, do you
That's,
have
that's what we're
Even
working
if
into
you have
right
enough
now.
room for
Right, that's
people to park?
it's kind of the worst night, right, I think.
In the
I'll be
parking
honest with you, I don't think we have a parking problem.
We don't.
I
So that's what I'm
don't.
wondering, well, but is it really, do between the, Ron's lot and then the seniors, right? Because people
But
can park in
remember
the
when we had
seniors,
the
and
yard,
people park in
we had a lot
those
of
lots.
complaints.
People
And
park,
behind, Chesapeake County,
people
if they
park.
park there, will we have a parking problem?
It's more of a problem that people can't park right in front of their
Right in front
house.
of their
Yeah.
house.
I mean, they can park a
Because
couple cars
people
down,
have
maybe.
to walk.
Because it's like,
You
and
need
it's,
to walk.
and it's only 15
That's
minutes.
But, in fairness, the ones that say there's not a really big problem aren't the ones that have to walk either.
Right.
No, but can someone answer my question? If
So, I mean,
all
don't
the
just
visitors that
Throw those
come,
people out.
if all the visitors that come on Fridays, if they parked at Ron's, at the senior center, and behind Chesapeake County, would there
There's
be
not
enough
enough
space?
parking.
Would there still be a problem?
They still, like, again, when I come home on Fridays, I come home midway through farmer's market. The streets are, like, if you go on Sixth Street right now and look at it versus Friday night farmer's market, between Dayton and Frederick, there are more cars on Friday night.
Right.
Because, and that's just the way it's always been. When it was Bayfest, the town parked. Like, you parked the town and you walked out. Same thing with Dragon Boat. You parked and you walked down.
4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July.
I mean-
Whenever there are large events, and the farmer's market is becoming a large
What
event.
about the
Right.
victories, the church parking lot?
If we're not gonna enforce it, then I recommend, I vote that we take all parking signs down, stop issuing parking stickers. What's the value in it? Why have it? Why have signs,
Now, I will say.
right? I mean,
Right.
why?
Well, I mean, some people listen to them,
Yeah.
It's not enforceable.
But,
I mean, here's our problem, this is the complaints I get. Here's what I get in my ear, is somebody calling me and say, you have signs up, you don't enforce it. So I say, get rid of the signs, get rid of the stickers, then we can say we don't have parking restrictions, then they can't complain to me about we don't enforce it.
Wait, you were the one that last meeting that said.
No, I think there is an issue, I think there is, but I'm gonna be in a minority, so I'm saying let's get rid of it,
all right.
and let's move
Well,
on.
I say we do one or the other. You either
Get rid of
reverse or.
it, why have it?
Keep in mind, the stickers,
Yeah, why do we even have the stickers?
the stickers were
Why have
initiated.
it?
Why do I need a sticker? Sorry, Randy, go ahead, Randy.
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Randy.
Randy.
Dude, you gotta calm
Sure.
down, man, goodness gracious.
I'm tired of being interrupted.
Okay, remember that.
The reason we had the stickers, and that became an issue years ago when the folks in the boardwalk demanded individual parking. Just for them. Yeah. And so, and actually before that, because that was done, I think, with Mike.
This was done with.
And I'll be honest with you, I raised out and said, and Mark was in the boardwalk at the time, you guys are setting out specific parking areas that no one else in town can use.
Right.
That everybody's paying taxes for them. So that started, and the idea at that time was we were going to do a town-wide parking plan where the stickers would actually mean something.
But
But
they don't.
that was not followed through on. And we've kept the stickers going. Part of it was like down at the beach parking, where if you were a resident, the 2-hour parking didn't count for you. Was part of it.
It's true, and we did have a parking person that
And
went.
we did have a parking person at one time that was issuing tickets.
Back during the Yellow Jackets.
Yep.
Yeah, and, I mean, if you guys want to get rid of the stickers, that's fine. We may end up, I kind of semi-agree with Mike, that we do sort of have a parking issue, and we may end up having to have parking zones at some point. I don't know if we're at that point right now.
Our stickers numbers go with our beach pass.
Yeah.
Is that what your hand is?
And it's,
No, my hand was for.
and it's part, and the stickers right now are part of the accounting for the beach passes too, for residents. So, there's 2 or 3 things going on with those parking stickers, other than just parking.
But really, they asked Stacy, what do we need the stickers for, and what do we tell them?
What do you tell
I think
You can park wherever you want.
Right.
You don't need a sticker to park
Well,
wherever you want.
you got a Friday
But
night.
like Randy said, you don't have, I think, maybe Marcia said it one time, and I didn't even know, you can park longer than 2 hours if you have a sticker.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna force it now anyway.
I know.
Well, and we haven't had enforcement for years. I mean, you know, that's simply that, we haven't had enforcement for years.
I mean, how big of a problem there? Is it like, I
You
mean,
got two big areas, like I said, Friday nights and
how
then
big of a problem
the
is
west part.
parking?
It's every Friday night, the parking issues go basically from the waterfront back and gate on 2 or 3 streets. Like, the senior center is full, the IGA lot, of course, is full, they walk a lot, our they walk a lot is full. They have a guard in the condo lot, keep people from parking there. The Chesapeake Valley lot is behind there is full. Not really the church. Few people park up there. Then people use street parking. Chesapeake is bumper to bumper parking. Because that third to date, because that fifth, actually well, it really can't go past Dayton Fifth because the parking is so lousy at Fifth anyway. But you know, all the.
But it goes down to.
It
Well,
goes down to.
let's take Friday night out of the equation.
Yeah, other than
You
Friday
have to
night.
take Friday night out of the equation.
Yeah.
We're talking about every other night. You have
Right.
to take that out of the
Yeah.
discussion.
So how is it?
What's
somebody
the
that shares
hurt
every
on
other-
Friday
Before
night?
we go past it, Dawn, what were you gonna say?
What's the hurt in letting residents save their spots on a Friday night?
Doesn't hurt me if I live there.
That's what I'm saying, like, that's.
If I lived there, I would want
They
that.
wanna come home from work, we've got however many people in town for a market, why can't they save their spot? And have a visitor
Yep.
maybe park a block away and walk,
Yep.
or park in one of the public parking lots?
That's
What do you mean, like put a
the
cone
issue.
out, or what do you mean?
Yes, put a cone
Do
out.
we really want like lawn
Well,
chairs?
you
I
still
know,
off
I
the street
know.
parking, you don't get affected by
I think
this.
that's
Absolutely
absolutely,
right.
I don't think we want cones all over town, I don't like that idea at all.
I love that idea.
Just
don't like
on,
it.
just
Support it.
on a Friday
Just on
night.
Friday night.
Well, the past couple years, I've
We
seen
can't-
specifically on Friday night.
The problem is, it's not gonna just stick to Friday night. The people
No.
are gonna
Well,
start
well,
reserving
well,
their places
signs
so
out
that you
there.
can't park next in front of my
Residents.
house next door to me, and you can't park next door to me, so these are my 2 spaces, and that's it. The guy who lives next door to me is not gonna park here because.
I'd
he
rather
can't park
enforce
his
the parking on a Friday night, that people can't park back there unless they have a resident sticker. You know
But
what I
then you
mean?
said you didn't wanna ticket anyone when they
I
came to
don't, but
park.
if we.
Honestly, most of
educate
the complaints we get aren't on Friday nights, it's people who live, it's your own neighbors complaining about each other.
Yeah.
That's
So
most
it's
of our
not about-
complaints.
It's not about people coming to the farmer's market.
Because they
it's
can't
about-
park in front of their own houses, just like you're, over there on Main Street, those that lady was in here talking about, it wasn't about people coming from out of town, it was her own neighbors, had 3 or 4 cars, and they were parking in front of her house, and she felt her parking spaces
So
were
it may
there.
not even be because of the farmer's market.
Most
just
of our
because it's the
complaints come
weekend,
from,
people have
from
Friday.
neighbors complaining about each other, it's not the Friday night farmers market.
But that's where the complaints, most of the parking issues are Friday nights. But the complaints are day to day.
This was 9th Street all the way over by,
Yeah.
No, I know.
By Public Works.
So you feel most people now are accustomed to Friday nights and they're home.
They complain about it just because they like to complain about it, but most of the complaints I've gotten have to do with people pissed off at their neighbor because he's parking in front of my house and I want to park in front of my house. So now I gotta park down the street and walk to 2 houses. So just like, well, like I said, like where your runner was over on 9th Street, she came in, the one lady came in and talked, she moved from whatever, she moved from Burn Oaks, bought the house on 9th Street, and then complained when she was moving because the neighbors were all parked in front of her house. Even though she has off-street parking, they were parked in front of her house, and she thought that she was entitled to those parking spaces.
She could have parked, and she could have even parked off street.
She just parked across the street. She didn't have to walk up the block, she literally parked on the other side of the street.
So, just to be clear, Rick,
That's why I
you're
sent
saying
those
it's
letters
not
out.
the farmer's market.
No,
It's
people complain about the
because
farmer's market, and
Right.
parking is crazy on Friday nights, but I think people know parking is gonna be crazy on Friday nights, and they just wanna complain about it. But the majority of actual complaints all year long that I get are people asking, are talking about their parking space, and that's why I sent those letters out saying, you don't have a parking space.
Right.
Anybody who is a town resident can park in any residential parking space they want.
It's more like just friends coming over because it's Friday night.
And then,
Is what
and then
it
your
is.
neighbors, the guy next door, he's mad because he doesn't have parking now.
Oh, it's just like the vacation rental side day. The night they have 13 cars in there.
So it could have been, but it could have been just a normal person with a party. Like it doesn't, whether
Yeah.
it's a vacation rental or a regular person with
Yeah,
a
well, I
party.
mean,
Doesn't matter.
But I agree with what Stacy's saying, is if you're gonna talk about actual enforcement, I think there needs to be some sort of an exception or something else for Friday nights, because I just don't think that's. the
Friday nights and Dragon Bus probably
But
too.
any of those special events.
But if you take Friday nights out, do we need it
We
the rest of the time?
No, that's just, we're together.
Take the signs down.
Well, again, I like having the signs in the commercial area because honestly, most people will follow it. Yeah, the.
I mean, you can still give them direction.
But it's one of the things where it's like, I'm parking here, because it's the silent threat, it's a deterrent, like everybody knows, everybody has nuclear missiles, fires. Okay, but you know, in front of the post office, it's 15 minutes. And most people, that keeps it clear then, so that you can actually get into the post
Oh,
office.
residential side.
So,
And you're saying enforce it, Mickey, or just leave the signs there?
leave the signs up, and again, and like, there could come a time where you really need to enforce it. Again, when we enforced it, back when we had the guy back when we had the beach patrol and those the yellow jackets, they enforced pretty much along the boardwalk. They enforced it up until about like halfway to Second, right?
Well, we had someone out there last summer that said at Third and Bay, and Richard had to direct them to the parking lot because it was 2-hour parking.
Yeah, that was every day, that was every
Yeah, he
Saturday,
asked them
Sunday.
how long they potentially were going to stay, and they said all day. He said, well, you really should get parking in the parking lot if you're staying long.
See, part of the problem on these streets here, Second, Third.
Second, Third.
Yeah, Second, yeah, Third, yeah. Third mostly, is Second to an extent, is those were always zoned to be commercial.
And they still have,
And they
residential
still have-
existing
It's not
use.
residential, no, because the grand scheme that was done 10 or 12 years ago was that these places, because the business people, damn it, I wish they were here to listen to this. The business people were all, they were finding that there wasn't enough commercially zoned properties. This is back before you were on council, this is back when so it was rezoned, all these were rezoned commercial, because people are just gonna run over themselves, to get businesses put into these places. Okay, well, obviously, that hasn't happened.
Second, third.
Second, third, and actually got
And Seventh's the same thing.
And Third has the whole study, it has.
Yeah, you have residential mixed in within commercial
Right,
zones. So
exactly.
standing rule of thumb is next to the commercial zone, you have commercial parking, which is in this case generally 2-hour parking. So on Third Street, you have, and here you have 25-foot lots, which is a car. And they don't have off-street parking. So those 3 houses could theoretically have 6 cars, and then you have 3 spots in front. Then across the street, you have, and actually that little house now has become a residential house, it used to be commercial. The old inn cottage, the Herring Cottage.
Liz.
Yeah, that one.
There,
yeah.
So that now is a residential versus a commercial. So theoretically, that little part of the map there should be green to try and give them at least 1 spot in front of each of the residences.
I think they have 3 cars.
So, okay, but, and then they can, and this is where they say people are blocking response, it's like because there
Each
is.
person has one own car.
There is,
One person lives in the house.
Right.
yeah, there is a tight area
One
there,
person lives there.
for resident parking.
And then, there's 3 cars?
So,
A lot of people
so.
park in the outer house.
But yeah, so that was just the rule of thumb in that area back, even when this was a Rass Field, that was 2-hour parking, and that is sort of still a Rass Field now. It was 2-hour parking because when my family would go to the beach, we generally park up here because there's a tree there, so we park in shade.
Right.
But these were residences, so it's just now, like, there's an issue here because it's so close that the residential parking there is hard. And then you have.
No, it
cars
is,
that
I
can
mean,
fit there.
that's where you see a lot of cars on that
And
street.
same thing here, mixed in on Seventh, you have commercial and residential mixed in. And some of these properties have been bouncing back and forth.
I have a tenant on that
Says
street,
neighbor.
I mean, on Third.
Yeah.
She's never
So, but
complained
yeah, that's at Hale, that's Sisney Painting.
about
Yeah,
parking.
So,
yeah, even on this week, you
yeah.
have spotted residential
Acute residential,
in there.
Right.
At Hell's Place, Sydney's,
yeah.
some, that are marked as
Yeah,
residential.
and that's just been something that has been tried to be kept.
Right.
Like if you have a residence, we try and give you a residential spot, but it's one. It's not enough for all your cars.
Exactly.
Well, it is for that.
I mean, I don't wanna open up a can of worms, but do we feel like we want to have some kind of public discussion about?
No, no.
You know?
I don't think parking enforcement would be very productive. Because like, the days we have problems and the days when we sort of want to look at relaxing it, and where we have problems, they're focus problems. So, and it's something where, if we wanted to put some things that have teeth to help there, sure. But if it's because Abigail's calling because the person next to them parked all four of their cars across, then that's not something.
I wish there was a way to encourage, I mean, like, I guess,
So,
are we
and-
maximizing all of the lots that we have, I guess, is.
Yeah.
Where Mickey's talking about now, there'll be crowded right there, but then all along in the front of Southland is wide open. And they're gonna walk
And-
20 feet or 30 feet or 40
It's
feet.
just, it's one of those where if
You know, the
we-
whole block there is wide open, nobody's
Well,
parked there, if they gotta park
part
right
of the
outside.
Southwoods issue, at least last time, was there was a couple residents in there. And people were pulling in their spaces and they come out of their little deck balconies and say that was private parking.
Right, on Bay Avenue,
On Bay Avenue, yeah. That was.
because they didn't want their view blocked, or what,
Well, for whatever reason it was. But with this, I mean, seriously, drive through town some night after everybody gets through work. And so assuming everybody, you know, you have to kind of assume pretty much everybody's home. There really isn't, Mike has an issue up by his house, and I'll grant him that, but that's probably because of the way the road is made.
Is it that bad?
I don't have off-street parking.
I mean, how far do you go up?
He doesn't
It's not
have
that, it's just the whole street.
The street kind of zigs and zags a little bit.
where like a normal street would have parking, there's storm drainage there, and-
Right.
and it's not completely gravelled in storm drainage, it's like culvert storm drainage, so you have, like, Frederick Avenue is bad, because if you start at Burnt Oaks and Drive, you literally shift.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it
some
shifts,
parking
and
is
it
right.
goes, and it kind of goes to a point in 9 seconds.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
winds
is
up.
it so horrible that?
I would say this, I mean, because this thing could go on forever.
Yeah, I mean-
Bottom line is, I have no problem not doing anything or doing something, because I will let people know what my thoughts are. What I'm saying is, if we have signs and it says resident parking, we just gotta let people know that, point blank, we are not enforcing them.
But see, by telling people,
No, when somebody calls to complain, all I'm gonna say is that they're there just to keep honest people honest, but there's no
I
enforcement.
thought everybody already knew that.
So I'm just, that's all I want to be able to say. I don't care, we can do whatever we want to do. I just want to have an answer to people.
I say that.
That's so I say we don't enforce
I
it.
say we
No
don't.
more
Yeah.
discussions about parking then.
No more discussion.
Yeah, I thought everybody
I
was.
have to go back to what Rick said, and
Wait.
I agree with him. 90% of the complaints are, Gwen's parked in front of my house. Why? Well,
Parking enforcement is really.
Or her
Yeah.
friend, you know what I mean? My neighbor has 3 friends over.
Well, like you said, Abigail, I've gotten complaints from 2 or 3 people who live on that street for the 1 hour a day that people drop their kids off at Abigail's, and they come outside and scream and yell at their customer saying, you can't park here, you don't live here. I tell them, well, it's a commercial zone street, they almost
See,
certainly
I
can't
think,
park
yeah,
there.
people, I mean,
and
that's
Abigail,
why they move.
and I know
Yeah.
Abigail tells her parents, like, you're not parking in front of the house.
She tells them not to, she does tell them.
Well, the thing is, I don't have a solution, but we can't discount that. It's easy for most people who's saying it's not a big deal because they don't have parking issues. But for those who
I
have
live in San
parking.
Francisco.
Yeah, but you have a signed parking spot, right?
One.
That doesn't matter, you have one.
One and a half or something,
One-
right?
yeah, one-
I know that, I agree, I'm not tit for tat for people. All I'm saying is, for those who come home after a long day and they gotta park that 20 feet, 30 feet, yes, I agree, I walk 10,000 steps every day for me, no big deal. But there's people, I mean, Victor's one of them, he's handicapped.
Victor's one guy I do.
He's handicapped.
Yeah.
And basically, time out, we are saying this, visitors have just as much right and are more important than Victor. Because we're saying we're not gonna force it. That's what we're saying.
Does he have a handicap?
There's no, this is residential, there's no such thing as
You know, I don't
residential
even think it's
parking.
handicap tags though.
He has
So-
a handicap
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
you have them now?
But the point,
He
my
did when he first
my point is
started.
this, I don't have a solution for any of this, but I don't wanna talk about it anymore. I don't wanna kick it down the road anymore. Just make a decision tonight, we're done with it.
But I don't know what would you like?
I have
to
no
see?
solution, I have none, but I don't want to discount people, because I keep hearing people say, I don't know why they don't walk, I don't know why they don't walk. Well, everybody's saying that, don't have to walk. You don't have to walk, you have off-street parking. I mean, so I don't want to keep saying, well, they just walk, they know where they live.
Are you in favor, I mean,
I'm not,
I guess I'm curious, Mike, I mean, I'm asking this because you're saying you experience it, I mean, what do you think is?
I don't have a solution.
Do you have a preference?
I'm
Like, do
saying,
you want
if
to
we have
enforce
signs
it?
that says residential parking, we either enforce it, or we don't have parking signs. That's my opinion. Because they're not working. Walk the town anytime y'all want. I'll walk it, and look at the amount of cars that have stickers that are parked there. Just do it. Everybody could use a little walk in here. Just do a little walk, right? Just do a little walk. I do it all the time and look. Real quick, and also the stickers, they're not giving out all the time with beach passes. Go look at my truck, just look at my sticker. I don't have one.
I have one, just fill out the form.
Time out, what form?
The form that we have.
Exactly. Sorry, I apologize, didn't see it.
It's on the back of the beach pass form.
My point is this, there's no perfect solution to this. All I'm saying is, I don't know what we do. I just know the complaints I get is that North Beach has a sign, they don't enforce it. So I'd rather just move on and say, we're just not gonna enforce it. I'm good with that. As long as I have an answer that we're all unified with.
Then we have to take the signs down.
No, I don't think you have to take them down, like I said. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
like
say the
you
last
have
time
pay
they
for
wrote a
ice,
speeding
it's an
ticket out front, but you had speed limit signs out there. I mean, it's,
Exactly, and we might enforce it in the future, so like, might take them down.
yeah, I wouldn't take them down, I mean, but.
I guess, I mean, I'm fine exploring if there's a solution, I just.
I don't think there is. To be honest with you, short of doing stuff nobody here wants to do.
Absolutely.
Well, for every action, you know, there's gonna be some reaction,
You
that's
know,
the thing, yeah.
we were kind of, I'm not gonna say we were inching towards it, but we kind of were with the parking meters a few months ago.
Is Ron still doing those?
He already ordered it.
He did.
Ordered it, paid for it, had the concrete pad for it, and
Yeah.
ready
I'm
to
just
go.
gonna see what happens, are people just not?
Did he pour it yet?
That's what I'm saying, it's covered in the parking lot.
Oh, I know where it is. I mean, it was dug out for a long time.
Yeah, he poured it and
People
ordered the
are
I'm
machine.
going to park there.
People are
I
parking-
got parked in your places, town
Don't
places.
complain.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
So I think I think at this point, we've talked about this enough,
Yeah.
Yes,
so.
move on.
So what's the consensus? Am I getting any numbers for part-time parking?
Nope, I do not vote.
Somebody needs to enforce the handicap parking.
That's
That's the police.
sheriff.
That's the police?
Yeah, handicap and sheriff's tax.
That's out. Make a motion.
Well, I will send Ryan on the email, how about that?
Yeah, handicap is the only one that the county guys can enforce on.
Well, that's the only one they will enforce.
The
They
only one
can
that people
enforce any of
want.
it.
They'll enforce that, well, they can't enforce town regulations.
Yeah.
Like residential parking, they cannot enforce. They can enforce parking too close to the stop sign, but like our town code, they can't do.
Mike, you didn't say no, you just said you're okay either way.
No, I'm okay because I don't think, because we're not gonna enforce it. So what I'm saying, leave it the way it is and they'll have to fend for
You can't,
themselves.
don't blame it all on us. and
I didn't say that, I just said, well, I know how I feel. All I'm saying is that,
How do you feel?
If we take the signs out, it's not
You're
gonna
getting
solve
mixed
it.
Right.
messages.
Yeah.
And if we put a handicap spot in front of his house, anybody with a handicap tag can park in front of his house and they'll still be handicapped.
absolutely, there's no solution to this issue.
There's no such thing as residential handicap parking, by the way.
Well,
Absolutely.
no, even if we just say, screw it, we're gonna make an actual handicap spot, like an official handicap spot, then anybody with a handicap tag can park there. So, no, he's just outside, he's on the other side of the alley, it stops at the alley.
Problem with him is he lives close to a
I asked
restaurant.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when it's
You
busy.
wait, it's only gonna get worse for
It's
him.
right next door.
So, now, on
And
that
then the
end, it
bed
should be up to
breakfast is coming there.
to the restaurateur to make sure that his patrons park where they're supposed to.
Well, I think you're more concerned about a bed and breakfast going right next door on top of
They,
that.
when that came in,
They lost
they
parking.
were allocated parking in the rear. So,
Yeah, they should have that.
okay, so now we're gonna move on to the fee schedule.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we're done with parking, don't ever bring it up again.
You're not throwing us under the bus, Mike.
Who brought it up the first time?
Yeah, Mike.
I did,
He did, and now I mean,
This was the fee schedule
brought
that
it up,
was
I did my part.
don't throw us under
given
the
to
bus.
us 2 months ago?
Yeah.
7 months ago.
2 months ago. And then we had a meeting where we wanted to ask some questions about things.
I have provided you all the question raising. The umbrellas and the
I
chairs.
was asking questions on that, yeah. So this is just the final work on this so that she can,
Nothing has changed on what we were asking to raise fees on the umbrellas and chairs.
the only thing I had issue with was the umbrellas doubling their price. And I had some talks to Joanne about why that is. We got the numbers. Rental fees, it's like 6.
Yes.
Have we approved all the rental licensing?
It's a lot of money.
The RVA?
$20,
Vacation rental?
pay that extra.
Okay, is that what it is?
They could have that up to 12 hours. See all these colorful umbrellas on the beach, people pay for it.
What's that?
They pay for it. Like,
But they were 10, you think they'll get 20?
absolutely.
I mean, they double?
They stand there in line at the shed.
Do they all sell out?
Yes.
They wait for people to turn in to get a number.
Already paying $17 to get on,
I know, this is
Concrete
like,
sand.
like, I wouldn't pay it, I mean,
there's no deep sand left.
crazy.
Okay, I spend a fair amount of time down there just watching, and the signs and the chairs sell out a lot. And people in like.
The signs? The what?
Excuse me, the umbrellas, the umbrellas and the chairs sell out a lot. Like Stacy said, people will wait in line for an umbrella to come back. I mean, and they will, I mean, you have a line of 6 people who are waiting for an umbrella.
When you get an umbrella, I mean, it's per years, you can have as long as you want, right?
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna kind of throw in with Mike here. I think doubling the fee is a cheap. And again, if you have mom and a dad and 3 kids, come to the beach, that's from out of county, what is that? It's
17 per dog.
Can we negotiate the
I'm comfortable with the umbrellas at 15.
Yeah.
I feel better.
I'd be
I mean,
happy.
double in 1 year, seems like kind of crazy.
You know, basically, you have a family of 5 that are on there, you're into them for almost $100.
And even the chairs, like, should we do that subject, because then you get 2 for 15.
The chairs are good, they are good chairs, and for the cost of those, in the rental industry, you're looking at like a 10 rental return of investment. Okay? Is like what we use as a standard. in
The
rental
chases,
industry.
we went
So,
up, 50%. The chairs were doubling.
Yeah, the chases are the ones that end up breaking the most.
Yeah.
They take the most abuse. 'Cause
Well, we should charge more for it.
I talked to Richard about that.
But also keep in mind, the chairs nobody's carrying out there for them. They get a chair and walk out there, an umbrella, one of the town tenants has to take the umbrella out
No,
there,
the
dig
chairs
a
were
hole.
doubling in price, the chairs were showing it doubling in price,
But
from $5 to $10 per chair.
So for the chairs though, like the chairs we do get, they are high quality ones that are expensive. So I looked at it on my end of the return on investment. So if you, like, it's the 10 time rental, you're looking at cost. So I see 10 as a lot, but for how often we replace it, I can see that happening.
Plus,
So,
with the umbrellas, like Rick said, one of the attendants was at, digs a hole, you know, sets it up for him, gives it into your feet so it doesn't go away. With the chairs, every single night, guys have to go out there and pick up chairs and have them turned in. You know, so I mean, there's that added labor cost there where they could be doing something else. Now, I have a question, and again, I wish the business people would stay. Is there any business in town that sells beach umbrellas?
Lighthouse does.
Does she?
Yep, like I said.
She doesn't sell the quality.
No, not like ours, but I mean,
If you look at the chairs, Glenn,
Yeah.
they all went up $5. Don't look at it like they all went up $5 across the board.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're the good canvas, heavy aluminum frame chairs. I mean, they're hard to mess up. I mean, I've seen it happen.
yeah, the umbrellas gave me more heartache than the chairs going up.
And I think the umbrellas are what,
Make them
$120?
$8?
Plus minus, yeah.
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 $30.
Yeah.
Do you care?
How long do they last?
The umbrellas, Richard said he replaces at least 10 to 15 a day.
About 20%.
So, And that's unless if there's like a ratio that takes them all.
Another thing.
So-
So it seems to me maybe we should.
At the end of the day, I mean, I'm fine with the numbers where they are, so.
Were there any other numbers anywhere that anybody else, I know I asked, I know we raised a couple of fees, was that enough to cover our in-house costs?
I didn't want to shock you all too much, so, for now.
For now,
Which,
okay.
which fees are we talking about?
Like, for me, I know like the, I think an inspection or something went up.
Good.
And my concern was just making sure that we cover our cost, our staff.
We haven't covered costs on these fees for
I didn't
years.
want to shock.
Okay,
For now.
for now, that works. Okay.
We've been subsidizing.
Well, what page are we on?
For example, like the zoning permit for new construction went up $50, the addition went up $50, the garage went up $50. Roofing and swimming pools went up $5 each. The miscellaneous zoning all went up $5. And then I think the vacation rentals, those stayed, the rentals stayed the same, right? Okay, yes.
I'm gonna ask a stupid question,
What storage?
since I'm new to this stuff.
I did a lot of it.
Storage.
Is planning commission board of appeals special exception 350, is that what it
Firearm
costs somebody
sale.
to come and do it?
Yeah, if you want a special exception for your house, if you want to turn into a vacation rental,
I'm fine with that.
okay, that's, and that barely covers the notifications we have.
You know, there's something else that, if we're talking about this, that's bothered me for a long time. Well, you too, but, it's people who come to the planning commission 3 and 4 and 5 times with a different plan, wanting us to say, do you like it? What do you think?
Okay, just flat out
We
say,
wanna charge
when
them.
Ron
No,
comes to the planning
no,
commission,
because it's been a couple of other people.
Other people
too.
have as well.
And we have to pay John Hopkins' fee to be there. I think we need to charge them at, I think it's like 3 passes.
that's
And
too many.
then you charge them. You got it?
Thought you were talking about concept plan.
Yeah.
I can invoice them for this topic, it doesn't have to be on our discussion.
Oh, okay.
They could just be notified ahead of time, so that
It's an
I mean,
administrative.
does anybody think that's wrong?
No, I agree with you, so.
It just
It
bothers me.
is.
Are they
because I
changing
used to-
based on because they just willy-nilly are deciding to change something, or because they have to go back for the,
Let's just take a Warner Brothers contract.
Yes, hello.
When they were gonna do dates.
right. I mean, yeah, it can go
How
on and
many
on and
different
on.
plans did we see?
Right.
I mean, and one didn't
How many
even,
hours of John's time is
and
that?
one didn't even look like the next one.
The weddings went up, right? That was the other thing that went up, the wedding permit.
So you can do that?
In real places, that's what's done.
Well, that's what I thought.
Well, at what
Do we
point does the
put
fee
it-
kick in? Like, how do you just, I mean, I think that's what you have
Like
to.
3 times, after the 3rd time.
Well, I don't know, if John's
Let's let me
spending,
rephrase that.
yeah, if John's coming in and spending 2 hours on his first plan, that's 2 hours of
You go
time.
back.
I know.
So, I mean,
And then he's creating it again on the second
Right, I
plan.
mean,
and the third plan.
I think a revision is okay, you know.
In times that don't handhold
Yes,
applicants.
yes.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Well, along those,
You know,
You might know a lot.
We do that a lot.
And we also want to, you know, incent people to skirt our processes either.
They do anyway.
You know what I mean? Like, we want people to come and do the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
why
you
we
do
have
have to be careful.
record goes around to see
That's why
that
we're
people
doing
did
it.
that.
But
They
the-
did.
part of the problem with a lot of this, the fees don't cover the time it takes. Have it for years. We subsidize.
Well, I think the idea is that we're hoping people will do good things and do improvements, and there'll be tax revenue. I think that's how.
But Gwen, how many
Looked at it.
times?
No, I agree. Like, there can be excessive, there can be, you know,
But I mean,
We've been excessive. There's been several people who've been excessive.
yeah.
but property owners in town have been subsidizing these permits for decades. I mean, seriously, and you know I have a lot to deal with this. I've been subsidizing these permits for decades.
What was your thought?
along those same lines, I saw a rental license here. I rent in Baltimore County area, a rental property out there, and I pay a similar fee for the rental permit but then I have to pay for an inspector as well. The inspector is not part of that fee. So I'm paying almost double.
Yeah.
See,
So
they're
maybe
here
that's
for
something they
free.
could do here. They
Here,
would have
here
to
it's
pay-
part of the permit fee.
Yeah, part of the permit.
Either get an inspector or pay our inspector, you know, to do those inspections on top of the permit. I think it's probably more consistent with what's done across other places. I mean, all Baltimore County is that way.
Well, I think what we did was build it into the, because they have to get it every so often, it's built into that.
Same Baltimore County, I pay $150 every 3 years, but then I also pay an inspector to come in,
Is it
inspect the
a
property,
county
sign.
inspector or is it a?
It's an approved inspector.
Every 3 years or every year?
Every 3 years.
Yeah, his license, what he's saying is his license to be a business owner, basically, the business license is this. And the inspection fee is separate from that.
Yes, I pay the inspector individually, they sign all the paperwork, send it into the county, and the county, along with my fee, issues me the license.
Not that complicated, but how much do you pay?
That's why I asked about, is there staff time covered in a lot of the things that take staff time? Because Rick, sometimes you hear, how long, what's your longest inspection been?
The longest one's been almost an hour.
Okay.
But most of them, depending on how new the house is and what I've got to go back for, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But that's just the inspection time. Then I've got to do the paperwork, there's other things that go into it, so.
So a couple hours for,
Yeah. By the time I do what I need to do, and then
Well,
Kelly
what's the
does what she
license
needs to do.
for? I
and-
mean, like, so we have the license.
That allows you to do business in town.
the
Right.
one license you have in your place is your business license for this. And there was a reason we did it, that it was separate.
I kind of like it being, whether it's, even if it was increased a little bit,
Yeah.
for us, I don't see complicating having
Yeah,
two different
no,
things.
no, I'm just, that's why I asked a question for a while, like, before this separately aside, was, are these covering our staff costs? Because for, like, the inspection was one thing I knew takes more time. And even like on your time to type everything up and get it
We have not
finalized.
increased rental license fees since I've
I
been
thought that just, did
So-
we? I thought we-
17
I thought we
years.
increased it.
No.
Yeah,
All we did was
just
listen to the.
went from yearly to every 3
Yeah.
years.
Oh, right,
We
right,
have
right.
not increased business
We
license
didn't increase
or
the fee.
rental license.
Because
fees.
I could, like, I could see all the rental license fees going up by $25.
What, 200?
Not the VRBO one, you just did that one's high.
Yeah, no, like the per unit inspection with one inspection, instead of 50, it'd be 75.
Wait, where's
Where are you?
The first page, very first page.
Page 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, first part of this fee schedule.
So that would be 225 for 3 years rather than one thing.
I think that's what I pay.
Well, we just changed it to every 3 years.
Right.
But your VRBO one's no different than for the license, where your big number was 350. but
Yeah,
the
yeah, that
special-
was-
the
yeah.
special exception.
This is what percent.
Exactly.
But that would also mean the vacation rentals then would also be for every 3 years would be 225.
500.
It's a lot, I think it's, I mean, I don't think we should go with that.
So it's 75 a year, so after how many rentals has that been paid?
75, it's not 75.
Well, it's, yeah, right here is 150 for every 3 years. So, but just based on the staff time of what he spends on inspections.
I mean, you could leave the initial in there, and you could do like what James was talking about with the meetings. If somebody goes past, if I have to go back and do a re-inspection on the house because it fails, you could charge an administrative fee.
I like that idea.
Well, that's already in here now.
It's already in.
One with re-inspection is 75, second re-inspection is 100.
Okay.
And that's when you make up, when you have to go back. So my question is, the very first one, is it a break even or is it a loss?
The
So,
walls.
They're all
The
lost.
150?
I think they're always been. I don't think it makes a difference that it's North Beach or Chesapeake Beach or Laurel or Greenbelt. I think all their fees are losses.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're basically just subsidizing as much as you
We
can.
need to do it.
Oh, no.
We definitely need to do it, but again, I guess I would just say is, I mean, we have high taxes for people here in North Beach. I think it's fine to have this
and there's high
fee.
taxes, they.
No, but I think again, you want to incent people, you don't want people doing illegal rentals, you know what I mean? I think
Well, but, the people that are gonna do illegal rentals are gonna do them whether they pay a fee or not. I mean, they're not gonna pay the fee. If they wanna rent their house, they're gonna do it and not let us know.
Yeah, I mean, if they're doing it illegally, they're not paying anything to begin with,
Yeah.
so.
So, but
No.
sorry. Sorry.
I just hate seeing huge jumps. I mean, if we want to go up $25 this year, I think we should,
Well,
something like that. I don't think we should jump up.
The way I was looking at though, it was,
225 in 1 year.
well, but what I'm saying is 25 right there, so that 50 becomes 75. So over 3 years, it's 225.
I don't think we should,
So then it's 70, so the total gain for 3 years is $75. It's
I know what you're
25 grand a
saying,
year.
but I know what you're saying, but I don't think we should still go up that much. I mean, you know.
So then, what would you think would be good?
I'm biased, it's everyone.
You need to step out of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, recuse myself to some degree.
Okay, if you
I just
would.
think we shouldn't, I mean, what does it cost you? You said it cost you, how much time does it take you total?
I mean, like, it
You
all
do an
depends,
inspection
like-
and write it out.
Like the one I did on yours on
schedule
Third
it.
Street was fairly quick. You know,
On
we have a-
average, the whole process, an hour?
You can't just pick, you just can't look at his time, now, he's not the only one involved in this process.
My time is about an hour.
You have
An hour and
Marshall, you
25
have
minutes.
Kelly.
And then Kelly's involved after I'm done, then Marcia's involved after she's done. So there's probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours worth of
For each property.
back and forth.
And there's your 150 right there.
Easy.
There's your 150
Yeah.
right there.
I just don't think we should jump it so much in 1 year. I mean, if we want to go to 175 or 200, to go to 225, that's a 50% increase.
Well, okay.
That's.
Stacy just-
Over 3 years.
I hear what you're saying, maybe we'll increase it more next year. I think we should roll it in.
Think
Maybe
about-
go up to
Well,
175,
the
maybe
next
next year
time
or
we
2.
increase it would have to be in a 3-year cycle, right? So we
No.
just started a 3-year,
But you always have new people coming on.
Okay.
but only counting it, then you should add. So,
Think from what
That's
Stacy
not-
just said. She's been town clerk and worked for 20 years, 17.
Never gone.
These have never gone up in
that
17
true?
years.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
17.
These are the same,
And
I
this-
went on council in 1987, and these are basically the only difference in the fees here now.
What about our
Is the
business
rent.
fees?
They're the same.
I
These-
think maybe what we should do is let's increase them all some. Why are we just looking at the rentals?
I just started here because it was top
Yeah.
of the page.
If we're gonna look at this, I think we do across the board, maybe $25 each, or, 15%. Take a number, instead of just saying, oh, let's do this by this amount. I think we do sort of a,
We lost money in these 30 years ago, and they were the exact same number then as now.
what's
How much are we
15%
losing
of
now?
150?
Yeah.
Let's raise everything 10%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's do across the board versus picking on one.
Okay, now the rentals I went, that's partly to keep landlords honest. Seriously?
What do you mean? Well, no, I think we have to have the inspections, and we have,
That's probably.
I
keep
totally believe in
landlords-
that, for sure.
Keep landlords honest. But, but all these fees, business licenses, everything now, what you're gonna hear from the business community is, we can't afford it. It's too much of an increase in 1 year.
I don't think 10% is too much. I mean,
Chesapeake Beach doesn't charge anything for the business license. And they don't have an inspections program right there, do they?
Not yet.
Although they're getting ready.
They don't-
Okay, great.
They don't have one yet, but they
I didn't
want to help.
You're working with them, right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to raise these for years.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What kind of enforcement do you have to make the landlord follow the code?
When they don't
That's
do
what
the
we're
license.
supposed to do.
If the landlord is renting and they're not officially rented, it then kicks on to Rick. And if then it goes, they're illegally renting.
Well, I mean, it depends on what issue. I mean, there could be a dozen issues from various things, whether it's code violations or town violations or just refusing to pay the rental license fee or.
I mean, I've lived in my house for 3 years, and I have neither a kitchen exhaust fan nor a bathroom exhaust fan. And I don't know what the code is, frankly, but I think. it should
They're
have
both
code.
because of the way the windows work and where they're located inside
You
the.
can't even reach the windows in the kitchen, the appliances are in front of them. I have to climb on the step stool to open a window.
the way your house was built, the building code was, for example, in a bathroom, if you have a window that can open, you don't need a bathroom.
Do you have a window in your
And that's
bathroom?
that's just the code.
I inspect the property.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the code.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. In the wintertime, I'm gonna open the window, no,
That,
that's, no. I can hardly keep my house warm.
that is beyond the town.
That's not,
That's
that's
building
international code,
Yeah,
that's,
that's national building code. So the town can't affect that. Unless if we went into and put it in our own building code and got our own inspectors back.
You can talk to your landlord about it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No one don't like to spend money they don't have to.
So that,
They want their fees.
Thank you.
do we want to ask
There's
Joanne?
a reason why we're fighting.
The minority is.
They shouldn't be targeted unfairly.
Do we want to have,
No
do we want to
off-street
ask
parking.
Joanne to bump all the licensing fees by 10%
Yes.
for the fee schedule?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because we're doing this, I don't want to be.
Let's think of an even number though, and not like have 77.50.
I know, like, okay,
There's
artists.
no change,
Uh-huh.
no change.
Yeah, 10%
Yeah, no
to the
change.
nearest whole dollar.
That doesn't mean not change the fee, that means no
Is it the
25
nearest
cents.
5 or 0?
Okay,
ten percent round up.
Okay, yeah, like for alcoholic beverages, it goes to, it's 75 now, 10% would be 7.50. It goes to 85.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit
yeah.
10% and
I
round
don't want
up.
things like 77, that'll just, you know.
Yeah, 10% increase rounding to the next five,
Yeah, yeah.
5 or 0.
A 5 or a 0.
I take care, I take care.
The nearest 5 or 0.
And this is happening to cover the cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, no, I just want to say that out.
Now, here's the
Yes.
It's
thing,
not just because we haven't raised it in
It's-
17
it's
years,
to help
it's to
cover the
cover
staff.
the cost.
35 years,
Okay,
Mike.
35 years.
Yeah, it's to
It's
help
to cover
cover
the
the
cost.
staff costs,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that some of that burden is not on.
No, absolutely.
So we're just gonna bleed a little bit less now.
What are we doing about vacation rentals that aren't compliant? Because like,
I have 4 of them left to do. And I have my next board of appeals meeting
You said the 13th.
is, I had to change it.
oh, are they all coming? Is everybody trying to get in?
March 20th.
March the 20th, I have 4.
And then everybody in town will be pretty much compliant?
All the ones that we know of.
Ones that I know of, I cannot verify or deny.
Right. See them on people like,
There's a couple that are word of mouth rentals.
If anyone wants to do research on ones that I don't know of, please do that in your general.
And I've inspected all those, right?
Yes, you have.
I haven't worked for a while, so.
Okay, please go out.
We could, please schedule that.
Rick, I do have a question, vacation rental.
Yeah,
Oh, if somebody blows off the hearing the 20th and decides they're not gonna come into compliance, how do we shut them down?
So you can't really shut them down if we catch somebody, that's the problem, is you have to be able to prove that they're running the property. We could take any of the ads that we find on VRBO or any of those things, and then I can cite them and give them a civil citation.
Well, we just won't do that. Because I know there was the one that denied that he was doing
Civil
batteries.
citation.
Can you
Who
use
handles
the post
eviction?
office address as the?
Sheriff's Department does evictions.
On behalf, who they go to, like I said?
They they have to be on behalf of the landlord.
I don't know, I understand, what court does it go to? You know,
Circuit court.
Okay. Now, in Baltimore County, if you go to court to evict somebody without a license, they are all, have no opinion on you whatsoever from the landlord perspective. So I know if there's anything we can do from that perspective, maybe.
No, well, with the vacation, I don't have to worry about it, because it's just, they're a week at a time, but any of the others, we always, what they'll do is they'll call, because the way it works now is I'll do the inspections and then we send the license out to them. But the license number is there, I generate it myself, so if we have a landlord who has a tenant being evicted and their house hasn't gone through the inspection process during a 3-year period, they just call me and I give them a round
Yeah, you
number
can't pay the
on the
override.
phone.
There's,
so they take it.
you don't pay the override.
But I was thinking from an enforcement perspective, we can make that, maybe be a point of pain, so that.
Oh, I mean, we can make it easy, but it's, evictions are, well, I just told you today about the one. I've got a house now that the people have been foreclosed on, and the bank has owned the property now for 2.5 years. The tenants are still living in the home. There's There's tons of code violations, property issues, and the real estate agent in the bank called me again today, said the last eviction process, this is the third one. It ends tomorrow, and then they're hoping within 90 days they can have possession of the home, but it could go another 6 months. So it'll be 3 years. These people, and they haven't paid $1 for the house in 4. So
There is a bill before the house.
I know. Donnie, what do you have?
The mayor called, check on storm damage from vacation, but what, I was talking a little about private where we wanted to ask how it's going. And one thing I told him today was the street lights, we talked about at the special work session. The poles out of both vendors are 8 weeks to get them. He wanted me to bring up tonight to see if it was okay to go ahead and order just the pole. I did get a couple other head fixtures today, and I sent you all some information on, different websites you can look on, but, narrow down. We can put any type of fixture on these poles. They're not diameter, blue poles like the ones you see out front, and almost like the ones on the field. But it is an 8-week lead time, so that means if we order next week, we won't get them until the first week of May. That's the longest lead time.
Right.
So we don't have to make, like the, we're not having another meeting until next week, so I'd like to kind of rule them Monday, Tuesday.
That's,
Or we can wait till
they have to
council
be
meeting.
in the meeting now.
Yeah, we would do it.
Whatever you want, but like I said, fix
Do
it.
they come in different colors like green,
I mean,
dark green? Seriously,
Like his truck,
Like Forest.
like his truck.
Dark.
yeah, real dark green.
I'll email you again tomorrow, but it's all the colors on that,
Why?
in the brochure.
It's so hard.
Because it could be different, so.
And now we've got,
Pink?
yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're also trying to make it the main
How
street,
about
so
navy
it's,
blue?
that's the one street we could make.
They're
it.
looking espresso. Yeah.
That's how we get orders, but, we can do it Thursday.
All right.
Let's do it next week, just so we can all look and
Yeah,
see.
I haven't even had a second to look at any of those emails.
Well, just remember though, it's 8 weeks from the date that he does it, so.
Yeah.
Well, we have to make a decision next Thursday for later.
So what,
Yes.
so what, do you want him to have color copies out with the colors?
I'll send everybody on council a link to the website, so, and that's all on there, but if you want, I
For
can
the
print it.
slideshow and the packet, that'd probably be great.
So they're really saying they're not gonna look at the emails, so we need to have it in this.
Well, and also just for when we put it up on the screen too.
Yeah.
It's like Jay, well,
I know, I have a Sternberg book at my house.
I mean, it's
yeah, you're in charge.
So-
No.
Not permitting, you
like,
said.
it's so, I mean, it's,
No, we're gonna match the pier.
it needs, I mean, it's, this isn't gonna happen every year.
Well, that's what I was kind of asking, do we want
I think
the
it should be
black?
consistent.
Keep the uniform.
Do we want the black ones? Well, no, I
I'm not
don't see
black,
the
they're
pier being different.
espresso.
I can see the pier being different.
Really?
I don't like colonial fancy the ones we have now. That's fine.
No.
So with nothing else, I'll call this work session to a close.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
I just want to make sure, we're increasing by 10% everything.
all,
Lynn's property.
business, like,
50%.
the rental license fee,
Everything.
and all the business licenses.
And how about the, what is this? Building permits?
No, I already,
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are already.
Yeah, the building permits from.
No,
yeah,
there's
it
some
seems like
on here
a
already.
set of paragraphs.
I didn't agree with everything.
Fences and sheds.
Listen to that.
Yeah, the ones that are good, yeah.
So all the ones in red,
The one we read, I've already.
so it's the ones in black and we're increasing it 10%.
This business and rental license.
Well, this meeting is closed.
Okay.
All right, we're done.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,